to English. Hello,
Okay.
hello. So, welcome to our SEO podcast. We needed to switch to English because both of us are speaking native Serbian and like we are Balkan crew. So, Sanja Marković, thank you so much for joining. I'm so pleased to have you here besides Balkan crew, but also as someone who is senior SEO and AI specialist who has more than like 10 years experience, but also has that perspective of UX. And I'm happy to talk and share the knowledge for SEOs who are interested in this topic because sometimes, actually, in most of times, we don't have UX team with us, but with AI content and everything, we really need to create content for real people. Otherwise, everything is just like waste of our time, energy, and money. So, okay. So thank you so much for joining and stage is yours.
Thank you for having me. It's really a pleasure to join this podcast and share some thoughts on this topic. So yeah, thank you for having me.
Nice. Okay. So we will go like straight to the point, and we were talking about some the most important questions that we want to share with the people. So also like with the when it comes to SEO and UX mindset shift, what do you think like what we should change, what we should adopt if we want to build a content for real people?
I think that firstly, we need to shift away from keywords first thinking to more user first thinking, and not really thinking when we are creating content or doing any kind of research, what are we going to rank for? We should be rather thinking what problems are we going to solve. So we should actually really go back before we do anything else, before any keyword research, topic clustering, content strategies creation. We need to understand really our audience and what are their needs. And I also think that we have to look at SEO as a part of broader ecosystem, because SEO does not end when someone lands on our page. SEO is involved in it's embedded in the whole process of user experience, since the user lands on the page, how they interact with the content, whether they will or not navigate through our website, will they be interested in to learn more, and finally if they will make a purchase. So this is kind of where SEO and UX can work very closely together, and I think this should be happening more than it is happening. But yeah, as you said, there is a lot of difficulties on the way because not everyone has UX and an SEO team. So yeah, I think this is kind of the main challenge that we have in this situation.
And when it comes to this, in your experience, like we can maybe put like few mistakes, the most common mistakes that companies are doing when they are creating, like focusing on the rankings instead of like user experience.
Well, I think that they basically focus more on creating this kind of more generic content that is actually only oriented on addressing certain keywords, targeting certain keywords, but there is no really actual in-depth understanding what are the users searching behind that when they're searching for that keywords. So this is the content that does not have enough depth and is not actually something that people will even read or engage with. And I think this happens quite often, that we are creating content that is focused on only keyword targeting. And this is the main mistake, because we don't really understand why we are creating this content. And I think that another big mistake that happens often is that we just create content from the sake of targeting keywords, and we can create many articles, but we don't really have an understanding what they will do, whether they will bring any traffic or not. And since we are not really providing depth with these articles, we are not actually getting any results. So oftentimes we need to understand that less is more. So it's always better to have less content, but that this content is really high quality, rather than just creating a bunch of pages that are not really providing any value to anyone.
Yeah. I also see this especially with the like appearing like AI tools and like content creations, like clients just want to, like get more and more and more. And then SEOs needs to constantly explain, we don't need more, we need deep, like we need like definitely better quality. And honestly, like I'm seeing like SEOs are struggling to explain the business owners, their clients in the agencies or like in-house, doesn't matter, like why, like, okay, AI, and we can generate like all these things, but we really need to think deep to see, to really go into shoes of of our customers and see like, hey, what they need to see, because like in this crazy AI world, we have attention of like goldfish. Basically, if I don't find like in 2 seconds what I'm looking for, I'm just like, I'm already distracted by the phone, by the, like kids, doesn't matter like who is in the room. And like, we are just like, okay, let's find more and more and more. So, but articles are becoming longer and longer because I see even like for SEOs and like whoever use AI, it's much more harder to reduce because we are thinking more, like more and more is better, more and more is better. So definitely I see that the struggle is real. And in the end of the day, if we are not creating like this content pieces that will convert in the end, again, no results, no wins, clients are not happy, and like everything is falling apart. Since you have been like in the industry like for some quite time now, what did you see that has been changed like in comparison like to writing for Google and like writing for real humans like over the last couple of years?
Well, I saw that, well, first of all, search engines were getting better and understanding the intent of the user and kind of classifying really useful content. The industry that was more focused on just creating content and keyword density was pushed away. And we had more kind of quality content in Google, above all. And Google was also reinforcing this message of content for real people, and we could see this through helpful content updates, EAT. And also, if we just read Google's quality rated guidelines, we will see what they mean when they say quality content. And in some guidelines they even note like for web owners, ask your friends what they think of your website. I mean, if people don't like it, then this is a clear answer. And I think this is only accelerating in the age of AI. So I think we can clearly see a shift that in terms of not just the length of the articles, but also how they answer users' questions, how they're structured. But I don't think that's, I mean, SEO did changed quite a bit, I think, compared to how it was done previously, because now I don't think it's kind of different that much. Like SEO best practices are not that different from creating content for real people. It's basically the same, because so if we are going to create a page title, the page title, according to SEO best practices, should reflect what is the page about, should have certain length. But this is totally aligned with what we actually want to show to the users, because if we don't represent well what is our page about, and our page title is not engaging for the users, well, they will probably not click on our page. Or how we are structuring the content. And as you mentioned, we have now, I mean, everyone has shorter attention span, and I don't know how this will end in the future, whether it's good or bad for our brains. But we have now the way that articles are built are different, because we have different layouts. The people are investing more time, I think, into making readable content, something that will be easy for human eye to absorb in this second that they will spend trying to read something. We have different formats using tables, bullet points, videos, images. So I think this changed quite a bit since how compared to how it was before.
Yeah, definitely. I think even like in the last 2 years, the customer behavior has been changed like the most in comparison to the all previous year, because also we have like all these LLMs and like totally people are searching for the anything they are looking for, totally different way. And now SEO needs to come in, and like even like it looks like we didn't have enough problems before AI, and then like
Then it,
now it's a total mess, and like nobody knows like what is working, what is not. We're just like trying to constantly do and improve and like burn out, and like I think the final result is burnout, that is for sure. And then
I felt like this sometimes, to
some of
be
the
honest.
results will pick up.
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of. I mean, we live in the era where I don't think that anyone can claim they're a GEO or LLM experts. We are just experimenting and seeing what's working, and this is why I think that we should kind of, with SEO, we should experiment more and try different things with other teams, or even on our own. And yeah, I know it's hard, and it's kind of, everything is leading to a burnout, but I think, yeah, it's how we just have to adapt to the new situation, because we have now users that, I mean, there are people that, if there is not an option to make a purchase with Apple Pay or Google Pay, people will be like, oh, this is gonna take too long, I'm gonna leave. So we need to know all these things, and this is where UX can help
Yeah,
us.
if it's not taking like less than 3 seconds, like I'm giving up.
Yeah.
This is not for me. Yeah, definitely. What I see, like SEOs will need to use brain and leverage brain as more as possible, because definitely we can automate most of like SEO tasks, and like okay, AI is for execution, but where AI can't replace us is in these like decisions, in the like what really matters, even like in the content, in the prompts, in the all these things, because definitely decision making, the strategy, the strategic thinking, and especially thinking as a business owner, that is something that like AI can't do as we can do. But what I see in the market is actually that like SEOs are using less brain than ever, instead of just like focusing, okay, what AI can do for me, but so we have time and energy to focus on like what AI can do. And so that is how to really like leverage all these crazy things.
Yeah,
So
I agree. When I see these posts on LinkedIn, I made a whole SEO team with Claude AI. It's like, oh my God, I can't.
yeah. But also I'm talking with some people, and basically people are creating the softwares that are going to be automating like all the agencies, SEO team members. So, like that is happening. Of course, if it will not happen like in 1 year or two, but definitely in 4 years, I really see that like the most juniors SEO tasks, AI will be able to do it. So we really need to upgrade our game and like see what we can bring to the SEO positions, so we are not replaceable.
Yeah, I agree. I completely agree. But as you said, I think that at this point they can try replacing us, but they need our brain. So
Yeah, but we need to use our brain, like so many people are just like giving up and like, yeah, I can't do this anymore, AI is smarter than me. No, like we
yeah,
created AI didn't create
yeah.
us.
I mean, it's a tool. We should use it as a tool, and nothing more than that.
Yeah. All right. So, in your opinion and your experience, like, what do you think? What kind of signals tell search engines that content is genuinely useful for the customers, for whoever is reading it?
I think the main signals are how users are engaging with the content. So how long they're staying on our pages, how they interact with the page, but also how much your content is referred through in your community or through from other websites, and also how I think also social signals and shares. How often is your content shared is really important, because again, these are all signals that reflect good user experience. If I read a really good article about SEO, I'm gonna, of course, spend a longer time on the article. I will try to investigate more. I will try to see who wrote that article, and then I will be like, okay, I love this, I'm gonna share it with other SEOs, and I will share it. So I think these are the main signals search engines use for quality.
Yeah, and also I see like many SEOs are struggling. Like they are making like very good pages. SEO is in place, LLMs and like optimization for these kinds of things. But I'm always saying like if the brand is not there, like we can do whatever we know. But if the company that we are working the optimization for, if that website doesn't have a good reputation, doesn't have a good brand signals, like if their Google reviews, like are so bad, or like they don't have Google reviews, we can do whatever we want, like, but in the end of the day, like people are not going to convert, which would be the final a call for all our efforts. So sometimes it's very hard to say client, like we really need to do something about our brand reputation, but like in the end of the day, so many SEOs are feeling guilty for not having the results, not analyzing and seeing that like, hey, some of the efforts is not on us, because if for any kind of reasons like this website has bad reputation, like it's not our fault, because by the end of the month we don't have enough, like good leads, like revenue, whatever the website is about.
Yeah, totally. I mean, sorry for the language, but if a product is shit, we cannot make
Mhm.
it better. I
So
mean,
true,
we have
so
a
true.
responsibility. If people are not taking care of their clients, if they are not offering good quality, I mean, of course, this is not going to be good for the brand reputation, but this is not our job to fix. So yeah,
Yeah,
it's hard,
yeah,
but
yeah.
it's
And what I'm always encouraging SEOs, like they are feeling, like, oh, I'm not good enough. I don't have enough SEO knowledge, like we really need to have like 50-50 responsibility. Okay, I'm responsible for responsible for the SEO, but like the web owner is responsibility for so many different things, like customer support and like all these sales cycles and like these kinds of things. So
yeah,
whenever we are approaching like these kinds of web owners, we really need to see like, okay, what is on me, but what is not on me, because SEOs are frustrated and stressed because of the lack results. But in the end of the day, it's our job to see, okay, I have done everything that I can, but this shit that is happening besides the website, it's not on me, like, because people are thinking, oh, I don't know enough SEO, I need to get another SEO course, not even analyzing that like it's not about us.
yeah. Yeah, I mean, we always have this a little bit of an imposter syndrome, and I think that it's even got bigger with
Oh
AI.
yeah.
But yeah, it's yeah. I mean, I think that we just need to kind of break it on to ourselves that not all the responsibility is on us, and then kind of smoothly communicate it to the client that I mean, yeah, that they also need to work on their products or services or whatever they're offering and taking care of their customers.
Yeah, and that is a good moment that you mentioned, because we really what I'm seeing as what will become a trend for SEOs is becoming like more and more SEO business consultants.
Mm.
For example, like sharing like what kind of like brand signals, like these kinds of more business advices to the web owners, because that is something, again, AI can't make it, but it's crucial for making sales, for making leads. And like our job in the end of the day is to be a consultant, whatever we see, to share with them, and they can do whatever they want.
Yeah. Yeah, and this is also where UX team is quite useful because basically with UX, especially with UX research, you can kind of really understand why something is happening with your business or why something is happening on your website, why users are not converting, because you can basically run interviews with them, do kind of card sorting games, and you can use newsletter, for example, to ask them about their opinions. So there are a lot of ways, and this is really important for solving this kind of more business problems. But of course the insights from this kind of research you can use for SEO. They are very useful for, I think they are really good base for any SEO content strategy.
And I love that because we really need to talk and talk more with the customers, because that is where we are getting the real insights, what they are looking for and what they need, so we can provide them. Sometimes SEOs are kind of like more lonely, like we are working in the room, like
Yeah.
no people, no anyone, like, but like especially in the AI area, like we need to have that connection with the human, because that is like what. And I love that you mentioned like interviews, different testing, like different like newsletters, just like to enter their mind, to really see what they are looking
I
for.
mean, you can even use Reddit or niche forums and investigate a bit more in depth, what people are thinking, what people are asking, how, if they are mentioning the brand, if they are talking about products from your industry, or what are they saying. So all these things are possible to find out. I'm not saying it's easy, but I mean, maybe checking Reddit and forums or Quora is easier. It's time consuming, but it's definitely easier. But in the end, running surveys, online polls that you can do in Facebook groups or anywhere that you can find people that are using your product or service, can give you some insights that you can then use. And I think that also SEOs can also work a lot with sales teams, because sales teams, they have a lot of data, and oftentimes we don't really use those data because, yeah, I don't know, for one reason or another, but in the end, they do have a lot of insights from the user. What are they complaining about? What do they want to know? So this is very good source of knowledge for us to know, okay, what people are asking for. Well, this is not on our website. Should we create content? And this way, this is how we create really people focused quality content.
Yeah. And what I see is that actually SEOs are so overwhelmed by all the new information that I think is coming in, like all consuming new AI tools, testing different things, like, so we don't take a pause and to see what is really working, what is not working, like, because I think in the most of days we are just like slammed by the SEO tasks. So we are not even thinking about real problems and how to solve real problems, like when it comes to customers, because we are so into like SEO reports, SEO strategies, using AI. How should I use like this prompt, then new AI tool, let's check this, then new Google updates, let's check this. So we are, like we are stuck into kind of like some wrong place, because we are trying to just like gain more information, because even like you and I, what we are sharing today is just like giving so many different options and ideas, like what people can do. But what usually like people are just like stuck and they are consuming new SEO course or like new SEO information. But the website that we are working on needs business thinking, needs UX thinking, needs audience target thinking, like what will bring the money to the web
Yeah.
owner.
Exactly. I mean, as you said, we spend a lot of time on reporting, I mean, audits, which is of course important. And, trying LLM visibility monitoring tools is also important. But for me, for my experience, everything goes down to that you need to create useful content. You need to make sure that your site is visible for LLMs, for search engines. You need to make sure that your website is technically uh, everything is technically correct on the technical SEO side. I mean, in the end, it all goes back to SEO fundamentals. That it's just kind of, people can call it whatever they want to call it, but in the end, it's all basic SEO fundamentals that we need to focus on, and complement these fundamentals with more research into our users, so we can create user personas and we can understand who is our buyer, as you said, and so that we can address their needs, we can solve their problems, and we can provide what motivates them, so we can resolve any blockers, any pain points that are affecting conversions. So we need to have this kind of two things, I think.
Yeah. And I love that you mentioned, like everything is important. This is important. This is important, like, and every day we are so overwhelmed, like being everything is important. But what we really need to actually like stop and say, like, okay, even like for our skills, even like for the website, like what is the biggest struggle, like doesn't matter if it's, new memberships, new leads, like, like, and what will kind of like bring the best results in the like shorter term and also like longer term, but always following like these money pages, money categories, how we can bring like these quick wins. By quick wins, I don't think like over the night wins, but like how to think that like what will really bring our website owner like a new lead, and then focus all our efforts, because yes, technical is important, yes, like LLMs are important, but like what will bring the money for our website owner? Because if they are getting like enough money, we are all happy. And then we are constantly trying, like to prove that we are good enough, and then doing like 15 pages SEO reports, 25 plus recommendations, like just to kind of like prove our knowledge, instead of thinking what is the customer, like who is the ICP, like how they are buying, like what has been changed. So, and I love the UX because I remember even like 6 years ago when I started working in the agency, like we were SEO team, and like we are so hard on like technical, on the content, on the backlink, like we are just doing. And then like the UX team is coming and they are asking like, okay, we will have like 3 different like ICPs, and like, like who is this, and like let's explain, and like let's think about target audience. And we were like, like we didn't even like think about this, because we are so hard on like, let's prove my SEO knowledge to my agency manager, and like these kinds of things. So instead of just like proving that we know, we really need to see like what is really important for the website, and
Yeah, I
then
agree.
make a decision what we are going to do.
Yeah, I agree. I think this happens quite a lot. But it's also, as you said, we need to identify and find a way to just focus on what's really important, short term and long term. And because if everything is important, nothing is important. So we just
Then we
have to be
don't have, yeah, then we don't have the skill to really like make the difference, and have that like the most impactful tasks, like, but that is on the us, because from our imposter syndrome and like not being good enough, we are incompetent to make a good decisions for the website.
yeah,
All
this
right.
happens.
Yeah. Okay, so in this era of like AI content, and like, so basically every we are all using that. Like, what do you think? Like, what separates like high performing like content that is focusing on the human from like just like generic content?
Well, I think the answer to that question is quality. User user focused content is built on research, and it's answering user intent. It helps users solve a problem. It will be the content with you that user will engage with. Whilst the generic content is something that is just created for the sake of targeting a keyword, and no one is actually going to read it. So, I mean, even if we use AI for creating content briefs, or if we use AI to create content, I think that we still need to rely really heavily on humans, because they are the ones that are going to provide all the research behind any content brief. But also, they are the ones that should be reviewing any content that is written by AI and improving it, and making sure that it's really providing any value to the user. So yeah, I think my answer to your question is quality, basically.
And like the quality, the value for the user. And usually people are saying like, oh, what's the value? What's the value? Like, and I'm always saying like, consider value as, for example, we can put the structure behind that, like how like that the content has the value, like, or any page that we are optimizing. It's like people are buying any kind of product for the reason, like usually they want desired results. Also they have the pain point, like why they want to have that product, always we need to have like the authority, the trustworthiness, like why that brand is like someone that we would like to buy from. And then value of like all the descriptions. So when we are thinking, oh, what's the value, like would I buy that product, like is addressing me all the check boxes and like all the other research that we can find in, but just like, okay, will I buy this, and like is it like covering all these things that like normal human being besides the website would go there, see, okay, check, there is a brand, like I will go and buy.
Yeah, I mean, exactly. I think that we need to when we are asking ourselves what the quality is, it's like I would start for myself and ask myself, okay, would you read this article? Would you
Yeah.
buy this product? And we need to be more critical on that side, I think, because of course, if we are even, I mean, like for I always like to give this example of of searching for a skincare brand. So you are like, okay, I need to buy like moisturizing or whatever anti-age
Uh-huh.
face cream. So you are like, okay, I'm gonna go on ChatGPT or whatever, and you ask ChatGPT, okay, what give me the biggest brands that are blah blah blah, and then what will you do is that you will visit their websites. You won't do anything directly from ChatGPT, so you will go there, you will read reviews, you will check what kind of content they have. If they are offering content around their products, what are their lotions made of, like all these boxes, and then in the end, after doing all these steps, you will be like, okay, I decided for this brand. So I think we should kind of start from ourselves and be more critical on what is actually this quality content, rather than just targeting keywords and providing more generic content.
Yeah. Like great example. I love also like when I'm reading the page, I'm also checking like where my attention is dropping. Like whenever we see in the fast-paced environment, we know who wrote that. Like we are not talking like that. So
Yeah,
where we
exactly.
are losing the attention, that is also where our customer will lose the attention. Of course, that like they will not stay more than like 3 seconds and like give another opportunity for us. So like constantly reading and also reading loud, and like we are becoming very aware whenever we are seeing like this AI content, and whenever we see AI content, the trust in the brand drops.
Oops, yeah. Yeah.
Like the same. Go ahead.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, but yeah, I just wanted to say, that this is something, for example, UX research is very useful for this, especially because if you talk to your users, you can really understand what information they appreciate, what information is important to them. You can decide then, okay, on my product page, I'm going to put this information in the upper section of the page because this is so important for my users. I'm going to add these kind of photos. I will add a video of my product or whatever. So this is very useful for this kind of research. But then, of course, it's better if the content is not created just generical by AI, of course.
Yeah. Because speaking with these customers, we are learning their language, and
Yes,
that's
exactly.
impossible to have without speaking with them.
Exactly. And this is very useful also, I think, for prompt engineering, because we learn how they actually naturally ask questions about products or brands. So it's very, very useful on that side as well, I think.
Yeah, nice. And do you think that is there anything else that it's important regarding this mindset shift from for creating the content for real people? Did we miss something? Anything that you would like to add?
No, I just think to conclude the conversation, I think that, as I mentioned, SEOs, like everyone is kind of experimenting right now, and there is no such thing as LLM expert. I don't think so. And I just think that we should just kind of combine SEO with other methodologies, try new things, try interviews, try surveys, try different things, try talking with your sales team and see what you will get from it. I think this is really a baseline for creating content for real people, and this is something that will help us win the AI search landscape, the traditional search landscape, and get real users that really are interested in our content and really want to buy our product. So yeah.
Nice, nice, because I love it. You mentioned like how SEO job should look like, like we are not accountants, like one and one, like it's not two. So we should approach our jobs in that way, like, but usually what I'm seeing a lot of insecurities, imposter syndrome thoughts are coming in, and like then it becoming, it's impacting our life in a negative way. And we are thinking it's about like AI, I think it's about SEO, but no, it's, like SEO job should look like that.
Yeah.
But like we are approaching like SEO totally like differently.
Yeah,
Okay, Sanja.
we should automate like reporting and do more fun things.
Yeah, experiments, like and like these kinds of things.
Yeah.
Nice. Okay, Sanja, thank you so much for your time and energy, and I hope I will see you in one of the next episodes.
Thank you, Adriana. It was my pleasure, and of course, whenever you want.